two of those, well, one of those adjustments you can get sorted, job's a good one, before you even actually leave the workshop. So you're sorted, done, dusted, no problems. There's three lots of suspension adjustment. There's preload, compression damping and rebound damping. We'll keep it simple. There is variations on that particular theme, but what you can do basically is the majority of the guys that have got Aprilias, whether it be a V4 or whether you've got the V twin, it's both the same. There's three lots of adjustment. If I'm stuttering and stammering, you'd have seen what I drank last night, you'd have seen why, so forgive me and bear with me please, I'm so sorry. But three lots of adjustments: preload, compression damping, rebound damping. Okay? Preload you can adjust before you've even got out the door, so you know where you're going to sit. What we're looking for, what do they do? Preload sets the ride height of the vehicle. This is one of the two big words I use to get this sorted. One, can't even see as well. Preload. Preload adjusts the ride height or the actual attitude of the vehicle perpendicular to the road surface. So perpendicular, that was the one big word I used. Okay, so effectively what we're doing is we're going to adjust the springs to sit the bike, or sit the actual attitude of the bike, or whether it's nose down, arse down, level, flat, depending on what you want to do with your bike. The whole thing of part of this exercise is that basically we can set this bike up to adjust it to do what you want it to do. Suspension is personal. For once in our lives we can actually be a little bit greedy and we can do this for ourselves. So preload. Preload, all we're going to do is we've got a given spring, whether we've got the spring on the actual suspension unit here or we're talking about the springs and the forks. We can adjust it. That's badass, isn't it? So what we're doing is we're talking about preloading a spring in this actual controlled environment. So we're talking about a spring, but what we're going to do is we can adjust these here, these nuts on the forks, or the preload springs into here, using one of those. Okay, which is just, this isn't anything special, this isn't an Ohlins tool. You can go and get this from any hardware store. This is an 80 to 90 C-spanner that they use for milling machines and chucks on lathes, that kind of stuff. So it's nothing special, it's not expensive, you don't have to listen to people that are going to try and sell you stuff. That's exactly what that is. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and adjust the ride height of this vehicle to get it right. Now, the situations, I know this is of a Tuono, and I know these reasonably well, and I know what the situation is. The actual ride height and the attitude of this particular bike is, it's a milli effectively with flat bars on it, which is why they were so radical, so different in the first place. But with it being a race bike frame with flat bars on it, what tends to happen is the weight bias tends to shift a little bit further back. So what happens is anybody that's got a Tuono will tell you is that sometimes when you're pitching the bike into a corner, the front end can feel a little bit vague. Possibly? Yeah, now we're talking. We've got a couple of nods. The front end feels a little bit vague. So what happens if we can shift it? Street Fighter boys suffer this real bad vague sensation when you're going in. The front end can feel a little bit vague, not sure what's going on. Basically, and then the front end feels like it's going to run wide a little bit. You have to kind of real muscle it in, which it's not a problem if you want to wrestle your bike around, but the problem you've got is over time that can wear you out, and that's not what you need to do. So we use the suspension adjustment and the actual adjustments that we've got on this particular bike to adjust the attitude to compensate for that, or to get it right to suit yourself. If you have a look on the Showa and on the Ohlins forks, what you've got is you've got rings that are actually able to allow you to adjust or allow you to measure the adjustment that you've got on the yokes, on the forks. These bikes come with showers on the front. They should be showing 3 rings. So if you've got 3 rings set on the front, that's standard. If you want to go a little bit forward, if you want to shift the weight a little bit further forward to give you a little bit more weight over the front, then you can show it on 4. Have a look in your owner's manuals, it's all written in there, not a problem. The other way to be able to adjust it, and what we're going to be able to do, is be able to adjust called static sag measurement. There's different ways of doing this. There's static sag and rider sag. Rider sag's all very well and good, but it's a really overcomplicated way of doing things, I think. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust a static sag measurement. Now, whether we're talking about the forks or the shock on the back, it's the same, just the different numbers. So what we're going to do is I'll show you on the back how to do this. I am going to need a bit of help. I'm going to introduce you to my glamorous assistant Beanie here. He's going to help us out. So what we're going to be doing is we're looking for what's called a static sag measurement. A static sag measurement is between 10 to 15 mil on the back. Remember, this isn't going to adjust within reason. This isn't going to adjust how hard it feels. This is just going to adjust how much the back end sits up. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to look for a measurement of between 10 to 15 mil between a fixed part on the body and a fixed part on the swing arm. Okay, depending on how or whether the, this is, again, you've got to be really keys for. No, they're in there. Hang it up. All right. Right, so what we're looking for, like I said, a static sag measurement between 10 to 15 mil from a fixed part on the actual body, fixed part on the swinging arm, with the swinging arm extended and then just with the weight of the bike. Rider sag means that you're going to sit the rider on it, so you've got to fully extended and then with the rider on it as well. We're going to do static sag because it makes a lot more sense. Could you do that for us? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to lift the bike up so the actual back wheel's off the floor. Ready? Yeah. Okay, so we've got no weight on the suspension unit itself. Fixed point. Between a fixed point here. Sorry.
Just want to strap my fingers.
Just want it to touch it really.
Yeah.
Okay, and a fixed point on there. So what we got? That measurement there, look, we got 49.5. Then what I'm going to ask him to do, put it back on its feet, off the side stand, so it's up. So we've just got the weight of the bike. If I can get between 10 and 15 mil on that, then I know I'm in the right place, or roughly in the right place. Lift it up again. Lift it up again. Back wheel off the floor. Okay, so that's 9.5. Back on its feet again, please, mate. 7.5. That's 20 mil static sag. So basically, there's too much sag. When we lift it down, it's dropping too much. So what's going to happen if it drops, or if the back end drops too much? What's going to happen is when you get on the bike, you're going to get on it. The actual bike sagged through its stroke on the suspension on the back. Probably, if it's 20 mil there, what's it going to be up here? I don't know, maybe a quarter of the actual suspension travel is going to be taken up already before you've even sat on the bike. So sit on the bike again. You're probably going to take, let's have a look. So if I sit on the bike, how much more of the suspension travel am I taking up? Probably another quarter. So you've only got half the suspension travel that's available to you already. And also what that's going to do is it's going to make the bike feel flat. So if you're actually going to sit on it, it's going to sit on it like that. You're going to sit on it again and it's going to drop the further down. So it's going to make the bike feel flat. It's going to be lower at the back than it needs to be at the front. So if you can wind some suspension preload in, get it to sit up, what you're going to do, especially on the Tuono, is you're going to get it to sit up. You're going to get a little bit more of a steeper fork angle in it. It's going to steer that little bit more easily. Yeah. If you want to have a go at it quick, just to show how much easier it's going to be. If you can get a bike to steer easily, you're going to be fatigueless. You're going to be able to ride your bike longer without getting upset about it. Quick and easy way is put your hands on your knees, like that. Okay, and this is how much it affects what your body movement will affect. If you can get that bike to steer neutrally, if you put your hands on the knees and then just move your head from side to side, feel the weight transfer between the palms of your hands. Just give it a go and have a look and see how you feel. That basically go like that and just move your head from side to side. You can feel the weight transfer through your palms. If you've got a bike that's set up nicely, if you're looking through a corner, which is what you should be doing, through a corner, you naturally drop your shoulder and look through a corner anyway. The bike will steer more neutrally. You won't have to battle it in. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust suspension to bring it up and let's get it into the 10 mil range. How heavy are you, Tris? How heavy are you, mate? A bit personal question, sorry.
8 kilos.
Okay, no
85 kilos.
So the static sag measurement on this is 20 mil. I've got to get this down to about, I want to see it at about sort of between 10 and 15 mil. So I'm going to add a little bit more preload to the spring like this to try and bring that back into range. Okay, on its feet again, 49.5. 48.5. It's exactly 10 mil. Couldn't do that again if I tried.
Perfect.
Okay? Quick way to tell. just lift it up off the side stand, what's the distance between the actual bodywork and the fork? Just rock it backwards and forwards off the stand, mate. No, on the side stand.
You want?
Let me do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
Right, all I'm doing is this measurement here. So that it's not sagging quite as much. So when I sit on it as well, I'm going to take up probably a third of the suspension travel rather than half of it. So we've got a little bit more suspension travel. We've got the back end picked up. The attitude of the bike's going to be picked up at the back a little bit. It's going to make it feel a lot more neutral when it steers into a corner. And it's going to basically, you're going to have to battle it less. Right, so that's it. So that's that preload, and before you've even left.
Griff, just ask, these two rings on here, are they separate? Or
Yeah.
one unit?
No, one's a locking ring, they're locked together, so it's not a problem. That's the preload set on this before you've even left the garage. Okay, same on the front. What we're looking for, static sag measurement on the front. Now we're looking at about 30mm on the front. What we do on this one, just to save a little bit of time, we've got cable tie so you can see what's going on. So I'm going to reset that. Front, onto the side stand. Lock, that way. Handle it here. Well, yeah, it's the bike forward. Alright, got it? Yep. 5, got it. 5. Got it. 12.5 on his feet, mate. Let's give it a quick bounce. That's what we've got. Let it settle. No, on its feet. Bounce it. Let it settle. Take the measurement. 26. I'm happy with that, to be honest. It's somewhere between 25 and 30 mil. I'll be happy with that. We'll see how it goes. But what we've got as well is we've got a cable tie on the foreleg. If I can have a look at the cable tie on the foreleg, what I can see is when I send Tris out for a ride, I can see what's going to happen. I can see what I'm looking for. There's a general rule of thumb that we're looking for on this one, and it is a general rule of thumb. I don't like using rules because, like I said, suspension's personal. What you might be good for you might be different for somebody else. But if you look, it's a kind of a general rule of thumb. The reason why I call it a rule of thumb is because we've all got a thumb. Thumbnail, if I can see a thumbnail's distance from that cable tie, like that, when you come back off a spirited ride, then I think that suspension's about sorted. The reason why I'm asking for a thumbnail not to go down to the bottom, the reason why I'm asking for that is because if for some reason you have to brake that a little bit harder than normal, you have got yourself a little bit of suspension travel left over. If it does bottom out, that's when the tyre has to start taking up the suspension. Once the tyre starts taking up the suspension, that's when you start losing the front. You're under braking as hard as you can. You hit the bump, while you're braking. Basically, you've got a little bit of leftover, a little bit of excess in there just in case. If you've not got that and it's flattening out completely, then basically that's when you hear squeak, 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 the tyres are squealing and you're in danger of losing the front end, especially if you're starting to pitch it when you're sort of rolling around a corner as well, something along those lines. So leave yourself a little bit of a, like I said, normally ask for a thumbnail width at the bottom. I'm happy with that. Okay, then we're looking for, basically, we've got all of that set up, we've got rings, we've got the preload set, we're pretty cool with that, we know what's going on now, it's down for damping. Two types of damping settings. Now again, you've got to remember that this is personal, so I can only guess at this point in time, but experience might be able to help us out a little bit here. What I'm looking for, okay, stand up front, just steady the bars. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. Compression damping, what does that do? Compression damping controls the rate in which the suspension unit compresses. Okay. Rebound damping controls the rate in which the suspension unit extends after it's been compressed. So you've got adjustment to set where the suspension needs to be before you go, how it compresses and how it extends after. It's easy as that. Okay. The biggest and most complicated thing, it's not complicated, the biggest thing is not to let this thing get complicated. It's as easy as that. Spring holds it up, compression damping controls the close, rebound does the rest, okay? That's what we've got. Look at it while I'm holding it all like that. Push it down, see what we've got. That's what we're looking for, so 5, false. wind all the compressor down. Somebody want to come and have a bounce on this, have a feel? Come have a bounce, have a feel on it. See if you can feel what's going on. Now, I've turned all the compressors up, so it's just going to be easier to push down. Wind it all the way up. Let's see what it should do. Try that. So all we're doing is controlling the rate in which the suspension unit is being compressed. How does that turn into, how would you know what's going on in real life? Compression damping is going to control the first part of the bump. So if you imagine you've got a bump like that, your wheel's got to roll, in an ideal world, the wheel has got to roll over that bump, okay, and soak up that bump. If it jars into the first part of the bump, trust your instincts on this one. If it jars into the first part of the bump, and you feel it like smacking you on the back of the head, or your eyes go funny, or something along those lines, you've got too much compression damping. Okay? Easy as that. The trick is start soft and work the dampening. We ain't Valentino Rossi, I'm certainly not Valentino Rossi, that's for sure. I can't tell if it's too hard. If you're not sure it's too hard, easy as that. Turn it down, wind it back a little bit. So make it softer, because if it's not going to jar you, or if it's not jarring you, then basically it's not too hard. But if it's too soft, what you'll feel is when you put the power on, it will squat. That makes sense? Yeah. So it's going like that because there's no control over it. So what you're looking for is that compromise between the two. Makes sense? So is it jarring you? No. Does it squat like a dog with worms when you put the tap on? Yes, but we need to add a little bit in. Okay, easy as that. So. Let's feel this. Try that. On a racetrack, you need hard suspension if you're going to be putting massive amounts of effort through it. On a road, you need it to be compliant. You need it to be supple. Otherwise, it's going to bounce you over the bumps. You're going to lose control. That's it, pretty much. You know what I mean? You're going to be battling and fighting your bike. From behind, do you want to have a go on this? Have a come and feel at this. Feel how supple that is. Have a go.
Stiff as wound in, is it?
Basically, yeah, stiff's winding in. Yeah, you can see, you can have a look on it. If you have a look on your dial, it's written on the dial. What you're looking for is somebody to see how it feels. You want it to be supple. Give it a go. You see what I mean? Yeah. If it's too hard, what it will do is it must bounce you out the seat. If it's too soft, it will just basically, just as soon as you put the power on, it will just squat. Okay? Again, it's personal. I can only give you a sort of a look idea, but make it feel supple and make it feel compliant. Rebound damping. Rebound damping does the rest. If compression damping just does the first part of the pump, rebound damping does the rest. I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to say it out loud, just so because this is the simple bit. Sitting here listening to me yapping on like this, basically, it can confuse the shit out of people. But what I'm saying is, compression damping does the first part of the pump. Okay, rebound damping does the rest. So if you're going around a long fast corner and it's wallowing like that, or you can't work out what's going on, the rebound damping needs dealing with. Okay, think about it. First part of the bump, like that's too hard. Pile on the taps, squats like that, too soft. Yeah. Rebound damping, if it's wallowing like that, it's a spring. All you're doing is controlling a spring. This is the second time I'll use a big word today. Spring will have a natural tendency to oscillate. Make sense?
Yeah.
Oscillate. Silly.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday after a skinful. Sorry. So basically, a spring will have a natural tendency to oscillate. It will bounce, okay, and try and reform back to its original length. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to control that. A classic example of that is riding down the road. You see a car with the wheel doing this. What's going wrong?
It's oscillating.
It's oscillating, so what's wrong with the car?
Damping's gone.
Damping's gone. I think the suspension's gone, it's the damping that's gone, not the spring, it's the damping that's gone, so you change your dampers. Now basically on a bike, we haven't got suspension units in four corners, so on the back we've got one that basically it will do people want like this. So what you've got to do is get control of that spring. If you can get control of that spring, stop it from wallowing, basically what you'll find is it will slow it down and you get control. So round the corner, start soft with your suspension, round the corner if you're swallowing, that basically a little bit more damp. Yeah. I'm dying on my arse. It's not good for skin pull, is it? If it's wallowing like this, okay, you need a little bit more damping to control the spring. That's it. If it's too hard, again, it will just jar you. Okay, you won't be able to feel anything. Trust your instincts. If it's too hard, you can't feel it. It's too hard. Ladies, right? Okay, so soft wallowing, too hard, soften it up as it goes. Okay, I think that feels about nice. Same again on the front. What we're looking for. Whatever you applies to on the front, applies to on the back, applies to on the front as well. Okay. First part of the bump, if it jars you out, then basically it's too hard. If under brakes, you put that and it dives too fast, then effectively again you've not got enough. Rebound does the rest. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. Let's have a quick look, see how this feels. Thanks, mate. What about if I take off some Rebound and I'll show you what's going on. I need you to come and have a go at this one, mate. Okay. Watch this. This is how to get your bike in the front, in the right place, pretty much in the right place, within reason, straight away before you've even left the garage. See the front bouncing like that? Yeah. See that? What's that doing? It's oscillating, it's bouncing. Okay, we've got to stop that because there's no control over it. So in a one push and it's bouncing. So let's dial into some control. See how that works. One turn. What's he doing now? Still a little bit. Just a little bit right at the top. Can you see it? Still not enough. Another half turn.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
Right. Come on, have a go. That's no rebound down whatsoever. Okay, can you feel it? You feel it bouncing. You can just look at this, look, you can see it doing this, can't you? Again, right then.
Down the old yeah.
Try and stop that bounce in it. That's how you fix it. That's how you do it. Anybody else want to feel it? Let's take it all off.
Good idea. Fine.
Hold on to the front brake. Put the front brake in. One good push. Yep, push. One good push. Job done. Okay. One. Try that. One good push. Yeah. You can do it as hard as you can. If you can go bosh like that and it stops straight away, you're in the area. Okay? If you can get your bike to do that, you're a couple of clicks either way from getting it spot on board. Because it's twist that bit to this person. Does that make sense? Okay, does anybody else want to go? Anybody else want to go? Run up a bounce on it to see what felt. You can do this on Kawasaki's, you can do this on Suzuki's, you can do this on KTM's. Makes no difference whatsoever. You can transfer this to any bike. Okay? Does that make sense? Does anybody else want to go? No? In that case then, you're done. Easy as that. We send the customer out for a ride. Once we send the customer out for the ride, we come back, we get some feedback. Is it hard? Is it soft? Or don't you know? If it's hard, you know what you're doing. If it's soft, you know what to do. If it's too hard, if they don't know, it's too hard. The way to do it is to make the vehicle feel soft, then work the damping in. Do it gently, bit by bit. Take your time, use the same road test route, there and back. Job's a good one. That's it. Nothing more complicated than that.
Excellent.
Easy as that. What time is it? 2 o'clock. Go for a ride.